Hello and welcome to the first of a bunch of sessions for Tales from the Loop, which will transition into Things from the Flood. This is a 3-month game. At the midpoint, if people are up for it, we will transition over, move a number of years forward to the sort of the strange after some cataclysmic events version of this. But for the moment, we're playing kids. And I want to talk about what that involves here in a second. But before I do, this is part of the Gauntlet Hangouts, which is an online gaming community. You can find out more about that at gauntlet-rpg.com. And we have a zine, we have multiple podcasts, we have a blog, we have a forum, all kinds of crazy things on there that you can check out, as well as, at this point, over 200 sessions on the calendar each month, which is in just, I couldn't have believed that a year ago. So there we go. Tales from the Loop is a game about kids in the 1980s, in a slightly alternate 1980s. It is very much like the 80s of our, that we see in Stranger Things and Goonies and all of that, but there are a couple of small technological changes that haven't really rolled out to change the rest of the world. So we've got these magnetrine ships, these vessels that fly around, that have anti-gravity, that have kind of changed transport a little, but people don't drive anti-gravity cars or anything like that. We've got robots out there, a lot more of those automated robots used for hauling and industrial purposes and research purposes and things like that. That's been a thing in this world for a couple of decades. And very basic artificial intelligence. We've got all those things, but people are still using TR-80 computers. They're still, if they have internet, it is super dial up through like AOL or something like that. People don't have cell phones usually. It is this weird sort of overlay of pieces of technology on this world. And our particular setting is a Midwestern city. Tales from the Loop includes a couple of settings, one in Boulder and one in Sweden. And I grew up in the Midwest. So I'm going with the Midwestern setting since it's sort of what I know. The city is Wayward, Ohio. It is a city where a particle accelerator, that is what the loop is, has been built around the city. And it's been there and operating for a number of years. And strangeness has occurred. Strangeness has followed that. And that is what our kids are involved with. Our kids are involved with that strangeness, trying to figure that out. So that's the concept. Our aim here is we're going to be, obviously trying to have fun. We're going to be trying to figure out the friendships that exist between our characters, trying to find that. By default, the whole group starts as friends. We'll even figure out, a gathering space, a clubhouse that you have. So that is the default assumption. Your friends at the start, though you may be misfit friends and there may be some complications with that, you all know and like each other. And then the sort of other aim is we're going to solve kid-style mysteries and figure out problems. Our tone is PG. Stranger Things I love, but Stranger Things is PG-13 plus. It's modern-y PG. We are more PG. It is scary and weird, but it is not gory. It is not terrifying. And related to that, with Tales from the Loop, in terms of how it structures some of the principles, death is not on the table for kids. It is just not a thing that is going to happen. It's not a thing that we're going to see here. Our subject matter is family life, being a kid, relationships, and problem solving. The structure of Tales from the Loop kind of flips between home life and life, solving the mysteries, and we kind of move back and forth between those scenes. Uh, the actual game itself sets some principles out that I just want to quickly go over. I had posted this in the folder, but your everyday life, your hometown, it's full of strange and fantastic things. Weird stuff happens, mad science, weird phenomena, all of that kind of stuff. And yet, at the same time, you have homework. You have little siblings who bug you. You have parents that are telling you what to do. You have all of that everyday life that is there. Adults are present, but they're kind of out of reach. They have their own business. They have their own troubles. They have their own turmoils. So to solve a problem, really can't go to adults. They won't listen, or they'll cause problems and make things worse. And those are sort of the three sort of tonal things that I want to emphasize for the game. Now, we are using the X card as our standard safety tool. It is, for me, the default safety tool for short run games. And we can do that visually or in the chat or however you want to do that. The X card is for objectionable material that's problematic, material that hits phobias, or even things that you feel are wildly off tone. All of those things are certainly fair game, and we'll when that material hits, we'll rewind and we'll go past that. Keep in mind, of course, this is a game about kids, so we want to certainly keep that tonal thing in mind with that. Rich mentioned something to me that I want to reemphasize that I've been stealing from him, which is if the first couple of times something happens, so you're like, okay, I'm going to let that pass, but later on you're like, nope, I'm no longer down with that. It is fair to X card something later that you've skipped past the first couple of times. It's fair game to do that. So with that in mind, that's the basics, the principles and things like that. I do want to talk about lines and veils. Obviously, real harm to kids is off the table. More serious things like sexual assault, sexual abuse are off the table. Those are things that were our lines sort of built into the game itself. But I want to see if there are any other issues or points or things like that people would like to make sure we don't have on the table, that we want to sort of cut out from that. So let's start with Patrick.
I prefer, and keeping in that PG-13 mode, not to have like violence to animals on screen, and
Okay.
if we run across the evidence of said having happened in the past, that it be like brief clinical descriptions.
Okay.
And in a setting that's full of robots and weird things, I'd much rather fight robot dogs than real dogs any day.
Okay. That seems fair. Rich?
I was going to say I'm okay with harm to cats, but I mean, that's been taken away from me. So
fair enough.
Otherwise, I think I'm pretty wide open. The not killing kids is good, and the lines you've drawn are good.
Okay. Sarah, anything you want to add?
I think I'm good with what's been said already.
Okay. Sherry? I can't hear you. Check to make sure your mic isn't muted there.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Apparently it was muted. The cat was walking back and forth. She's been really good lately with this.
Okay. All right. So you said...
Oh, my goodness. I'm sorry. I said same. I was
same.
Just trying to get one word out.
And Darren.
Yep, I'm good.
Good. All right. All right. I've got just a little more talking to do, and I'm apologizing right now, but I want to tell you how the system works so you have an idea of that when we roll into making our characters from those playbooks. This is a dice pool system. You have 4 stats: body, tech, heart, and mind, and those go from 1 to 5. And then you've got a dozen skills. Each skill is set to one of those stats. So whenever you roll force, you're always rolling that with body. Skills go from 0 to 5. You take your total. So if you have a body of 3 and a force of 1, you're rolling 4d6. You're going to roll all those. And all you're looking for, all you want, is 1 6. If you get 1 6 on that pool of dice, then that's a success. That's almost always what you need, is just a single success. And the dice will betray you. They are hurtful and unpleasant, and you will get a whole bunch of dice and you will still fail, just by the nature of this game. So you do have some options for moderating that. Everyone will have an iconic item, like a personal item that is important to them. If you can work that into your description before you roll, you can give yourself 2 extra dice on that roll. The other options that you have are spending luck. Everyone will have some points of luck. The older you are, the better stats you have, but the less luck that you have. And if you spend a point of luck, which will refresh, all of that will refresh at the beginning of each session, you can re-roll any dice you want. So spend a luck point, re-roll after the roll. The other thing you can do is, if you don't want to spend luck, you can push yourself. And when you push yourself, you also get to re-roll any or all dice that you want. But when you push yourself, you're also going to mark one of the 4 conditions that are listed on the sheet there under stuff, because I apparently didn't want to be particularly descriptive. So it's sleepless, thirsty, hungry, and cold. You'll mark that, and each condition that you have gives you a -1 from that point forward. If you have all your conditions marked and something bad happens, that's when you're broken, when you're taken out. And we narrate in the fiction how that occurs. So those are the 2 big ways to do rerolls. Your last option to save your bacon is, you can, once per session, call on your pride. If your pride fits with the action you're doing, you can call on your pride to give yourself an automatic success. So that is the last ditch save your bacon. And that is all of the basics of the game. To heal conditions, you need to go and speak to somebody that you care about, that you interact with, a person called your anchor. Essentially, you work with them, they comfort you, you make yourself feel better through that process. That's the basics of healing. Now, we're going to, in a second, we're going to go through and have you walk through the character process. We've got those playbooks in the thing. I'll have everybody pick out what they are. But I want to tell you what the skills mean, because some of them are super obvious, some of them are not. So let me tell you about that. We've got 3 skills under body. Force is any kind of strength, pushing, real physicality, endurance. Move is agility, dexterity, speed. And then sneak is sneaking. Those are pretty good. Those are pretty obvious. I like the ways that those are described. The next set, the tech skills, are a little more not obvious. Program is the ability to create and manipulate computer programs and electronic devices. It's the break it, fix it, create it skill for electronic devices, anything that's more sophisticated. The parallel to that is tinker. Tinker is that, but for mechanical devices. So program is for reprogramming a robot. Tinker is for breaking the robot's legs. That's the parallel on that. Both of them do the same sort of build, breakdown, repair kind of thing, but in different aspects. Tinker is also what you roll if you have to, say, hotwire a car or use a car, which happens every once in a while in Tales from the Loop sessions. And then the last one is calculate. Calculate is the information gathering skill for devices, mechanical things, technological objects. It's the info skill for that. Our 3 heart skills. These are our sort of charm skills. Charm is lying, manipulating, getting people to befriend you. Contact is finding somebody who can get you something. finding someone who can help you, getting assistance, that kind of thing, getting adults to get you what you need, or knowing the right person. And then leadership is the ability to help people work together. You can roll leadership to give extra dice to your companions for a scene. Leadership can also be used to heal other kids' conditions. So those are the two sort of extra things from that. Last 3 skills, and then I swear to God, I'm almost done. For our mind, we have comprehend. That's our research skill. That's our library use. That's like going to the school library, all of that, reading newspapers, all that kind of thing. Empathize is the read other people. It's the human perception skill. It's figuring out what people are like. It's the pierce the mask skill for this game. And then lastly, investigate is the, read a sitch, look around a place, figure out what's going on skill. Any of these things, one success will get you stuff. More successes will get you extra questions, will get you better effect, will give you more choices, all of that kind of thing. The game does have like set questions for the different skills. I'm pretty loose about that. All right. Now, with that in mind, I would like to go around and see. We had some discussion in the chat about people's playbooks that you were thinking about. I want to go around and kind of check and finalize on that and see if you have 1 or 2 choices, and then we can narrow that down. Sherry, can I start with you?
Sure. So I was thinking of weirdo. When I was in school, I had a friend whose parents had a business, and she could never dress particularly fashionably or anything because she was part of that business, that she had to be there and be available. So she couldn't dress in the current fashion. She had to be appealing to old people. So I thought that I would choose a character that was her weirdo-ness, is that she could never really conform with the social stuff.
Okay.
So essentially I was thinking girl, maybe 12 was good. I think Darlene Agostino, her
I'm going to stop you there. So weirdo.
Weirdo.
Okay.
That's all you need? Okay.
Yeah, that's all I need. We'll come around to the
We'll go
playbooks
weirdo.
in a second.
Yeah,
I'm
but
sorry.
I was going to ask if you could put the links in for
the folder link. Let me
for the folder.
grab that. Hang on 1 second. I'm sorry. I should
That's
have done
okay.
that earlier.
Um,
Get shareable link. Sharing settings. Can edit. Copy link. Oh, I saw you wrote links in the chat with all caps. I should have seen that. All right, Sarah, what are you thinking?
A bookworm or the troublemaker?
Bookworm or troublemaker?
Is anyone else wanting either of those?
I like the idea of the bookworm.
Okay, or the troublemaker then.
Okay.
Cool.
Rich, what are you thinking?
I'm leaning towards the computer geek.
Computer geek. Okay. And Darren, I've heard Hick before.
Yeah, I was thinking Hick or Rocker, and you know what? Thanks everybody for making that decision easier for me.
Okay.
I think I have to do the Hick.
Okay. All right. So you will see in the playbook that you can work through that. Basically, you choose your age. That will determine how many points you get for attributes. You'll have points to distribute into skills. Each playbook has 3 skills that are key skills. Those can be up to 3 points in a skill for those. Everything else, max of 1. You'll go through and pick out everything. Go ahead and work through the full sheet. The only thing to skip right now, until we get to introductions, is skip the relationships to other kids. So you can go ahead and work through that. And I will sit here awkwardly while that is going on, and I will answer any questions that people have during that process. Darren, that is quite the picture.
Yeah, that was all Rich is doing. I can't not go with him. I think he looks pretty young too. So I really have a problem with like being able to tell children's ages. But I think he looks young, so I'm just gonna go for 10.
10's exactly what I would have guessed. So if we're wrong, we're both wrong together.
There we go.
This is also a game where the GM does roll, Rich. I know you'll be shocked and threatened by that, but
yeah.
I usually try to avoid it as much as possible.
I had to roll dice yesterday. It was very painful.
I'm like very seriously gonna put, I think, Vampire the Masquerade on the calendar, like with the original system. And luckily, the 5th edition is very helpful. And it's like, here's ways to do it so only players roll dice. Like, thank you.
Has serious feels for Vampire the Masquerade.
I want to have serious feels. I just am scared that somebody's gonna show up with like vampire teeth and they're gonna intimidate me out of GMing it.
Well, just remember, it's online, so you can just eject them from the hangout.
I'll put that in my listing. If you come with fake vampire teeth, you're getting kicked. No, I'm kidding. I would love that, actually. I love fake vampire teeth. I'd be into it.
Okay, I'm going to give you a couple more minutes, and then I'm going to move to introductions. Darren, are you stuck on song?
I'm doing research.
Okay, I was saying, it's like, why?
I have an idea, but I gotta make sure.
To celebrate the 1980ness of it all, I have my They Might Be Giants t-shirt on here. They had a sale at the TMBG store of old shirts for $6. So they had ones from all the way back to Lincoln. So
Wow.
yeah. Sherry, I've set my order. So Sherry, why don't you tell us about your character, Darlene?
Okay. Darlene Agostino just actually joined school again, came back here 2 years ago. They were living in Chicago, but when she came back with her mom. And they're living with her father's uncles, the Agostinos. They run the Agostino Funeral Home. And essentially, they came back. This is where they're living. Her mom has been working there at the funeral home. She has taken up the cosmetologist role or is working on it. A lot of times when Darlene comes to school, she has makeup on, and it's in that form of it's supposed to look as natural as possible, if that makes any sense. So she wears like very different makeup. She doesn't have the perms or anything, and her clothes tend to be very classic. And if any of you had ever been to the funeral home, her role is very much to like pass out the little leaflet things for the services that are going on, and to remind people to use the guest book and stuff. And she's like a little hostess when she's there. And so that is her role there. What else do you want to know? At school, she doesn't have current fashions. She has more old-fashioned ones. After school, she does have jeans and stuff, but they're not even like the current ones. They look like they're like, 20-year-old jeans that just were still around in the house or something, kind of thing. So her clothes are very, they're either for show or they're not paid much attention to.
Okay, let's walk through some of the questions. What is your iconic item?
My iconic item is the camera that used to be my father's. He is gone now.
So old style film camera.
Mhm.
Okay. Is it film like you have to go take it developing, or is it Kodachrome with the?
Oh, with the things? No, it's a developing one.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and she's saving up to have her own dark room.
And what is your problem?
My problem is that Mom is worried all the time, because Dad disappeared.
Ooh.
She doesn't know where he is, and we have to rely on my father's family. And though my Uncle Albie and my Uncle John are very sweet and kind, my mom feels a lot of pressure to like be helpful and to figure out what her role is in this, because she also still drives up to Chicago to look for my dad.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So yeah. So he literally disappeared.
And what is your pride?
My pride is that I have the eye like my dad. So I'm good. My photographs are pretty good. At least that's what my uncles say.
Okay. And we have a pic of a relationship with an NPC. Who would that be?
Probably my Uncle Albie.
Okay. Well, I've got some on the list.
Oh no!
There.
Oh, we're supposed to do the list. Oh man. Okay, I'll go look at the list. I've failed. Failed as a player.
No.
I'll go get it right.
Using it as an example.
Okay. So, where is this list?
It is just after relationships to other kids on your playbook.
Okay, on my playbook, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I will go with. How about?
Or if none of those fit, I can come back to you.
Yeah, I'll go with Miss Stacy.
Okay. Do you want to read that out for us?
Oh goodness. Yeah, sure. Let's see here. She wants me to call her Miss Stacy. She's older than me and lives by herself in a farmhouse. She hates all grown-ups.
Let me ask you a couple of questions before I move on. Where do you live? Do you live in a funeral home, or is there apartment attached? Do you have a separate house? What do you think that is?
Well, what it is that there's a little house that's behind the funeral home house. The funeral home house looks like kind of a big mansion, and it can, it's got like 3 large-sized parlors and different entrances and stuff like that. And my mom and I have rooms up like at the top, like what would be the attic.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't have a kitchen in there because the smell of cooking food, you can't have that. So we actually eat and go to my uncle's little house that's behind there. It's not a very big house. It's a nice one, but they didn't have rooms for us there. So we stay at the funeral house, but then we go and eat over there.
What do you think happened to your father?
He took pictures. That was the thing. And I think that he went out and he was taking pictures. And my theory is that he took a picture of something he shouldn't have. And so someone is holding him. Or he has to run or stay on the thing so he won't be caught. That's her theory.
When you had to leave Chicago, and this is 2 years ago, had a life there, what is it that you left behind that hurts?
I think I miss like the group of friends that my mom and dad had. They had a lot of friends who were sort of in that artsy circle, and they were there all the time. And it was always fun because I got to feel very adult, and they paid attention to the things that I did and said. And I miss that feeling of my mom being happy and in the center of things.
All right. Thank you for killing me slowly with that. And I'm going to move on. We're going to come back around after we do everybody's introductions, and we're going to look at relationship to other kids. They have a suggested list on there. You can look at other playbooks. If you have other ideas for relationships that develop as we go along, those are just suggestions on there, but we will come around on that. So, Sarah, can you tell me about your troublemaker?
So I'm playing Holly Miller. She's 14. Home life isn't great, I think, because it all kind of started when her grandma died maybe 4 years ago. And then her dad went downhill real fast after that. He started drinking. And so I've kind of had to find connections elsewhere. My anchor is the school janitor. And the important relationship that I chose is this guy named Mikey. He used to be famous. And I've gone over to his lake house sometimes, and he's told me about this conspiracy theory, or conspiracy he's got that destroyed his life, he says. But it's also nice to have someone kind of older to look up to.
So is he into are you into the kind of music that he did, or what do you imagine?
We don't have a rocker in the group, do we?
No.
Okay. Yeah, so I think my favorite song I chose was Duran Duran's Notorious. And I think he did like similar stuff, but that's why I like that sort of music. It's a recent thing.
And your iconic item?
Lighter and cigarettes. They were my grandmother's, so I've never actually smoked cigarettes. They're several years old at this point, and probably terrible.
Incredibly
but
stale.
I don't know that.
Yeah. And I see your prize that you stood up to the teacher. What happened there?
Does anyone want to volunteer to be the person I stood up for?
Rich raises his hand.
Yep, you can stand up for Nicole.
Okay. Yeah, I think the teacher, I don't know, maybe just a bad day, or they're always like this. But they just kind of went off on her, like in front of everyone, and that's not cool. I think I just called them out and redirected attention toward me, and that didn't go well either.
Now, here's a question. The troublemaker is really interesting. Is this like that? Like people go, oh, well, she's from this family and she's a troublemaker, or is it a recent thing? Like your attitude has changed. How are you a troublemaker? How are you viewed both by your peers and by the teachers?
After my grandma died and Dad went downhill, I think I just started acting out in general, getting into trouble, like hanging out places I shouldn't be, too late. I think to some extent affecting these, like the cigarettes. Like I have them, but I've never smoked them. I've never done drugs, and I wouldn't. But sort of putting on this image of I don't care, because I do, like, intensely, but I think that's the only way I can get people to pay attention to me.
So you've got the attitude and appearance of the troublemaker, but you're not out like outside the school door smoking, like some of the other kids are, hanging with
Maybe
them.
I like hang out with them, but I'm not actually smoking. I just like pretend to.
Okay, because at that point, maybe even the younger ones of that, even though you're the oldest of your circle of friends. Where's your mom in the picture?
I think she left a long time ago, maybe 10 years or so. That's part of the reason why things fell apart so quickly, because like my grandma was kind of filling in that maternal role, and when she died, there wasn't really anything to take her place.
What does your dad do? What's his job?
Certainly nothing sciencey. Couldn't keep it together long enough.
Like construction or service industry?
Sure, let's say construction.
Okay.
Or maybe he used to be something more, like maybe he used to work in some capacity at the Loop and then got fired.
Okay. Like used to be on staff at the Loop. Do you think it like does that correspond with the time after your grandmother passed away? Is that all that sort of all came cascading down? Where do you live? What's your housing like?
The house is pretty normal, I think. Like we still have it from before. It's kind of gone a little bit to seed, but I think pretty suburban.
Like it was your grandmother's house. It's your house that your dad maybe grew up in. It still smells of all the cigarette smoke from your grandmother smoking at the kitchen table, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. That gives me a lot to work with. I will come back around to you when we do the relationship to the other characters. Let's move to Patrick, our bookworm.
Hey, so I'm playing Justin Thomas. He's bookworm. He's 13. I don't know. I don't have a lot of specifics for his background, I don't think. He's very good friends with Rich's character, but let's see.
What you have a drive there? Let me start with this question here. You have a drive. I want to find the answers to the big question in life. That's a big philosophical head filling thing. What does that mean to him?
I think it's tied into his problem, where no one will tell me how my dad died.
Oh.
I was wondering, Sherry, if you'd be interested in hooking that in with yours, since, missing dad's things.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's like, I think we don't know where my dad is or if he is dead. So, but definitely I could see us having a relationship because we're both missing our dads.
I was wondering if maybe they disappeared under similar circumstances or maybe at the same time or something.
Okay.
My idea for he's dead and sort of my search there is that no one would let me see him after he died. No one would let me see him at the funeral's closed casket. And I think I snuck into the funeral home at some point just to like get a final look at him, say goodbye to him, and open up the casket to find that like it's an empty casket. They've just buried a casket with weight in it, basically.
Oh.
Interesting. That's something that your mom did, or something that some sinister organization did? What do you think?
I don't know, but she told me that she saw him and that like it was a closed casket because she didn't think I could handle seeing him or something like that. She very much intimated that she had seen the body.
Is that something that you've shared then with Darlene?
Well, I like the idea of that when he snuck in, it was actually Darlene who like took him to where he could go look and opened the casket, and they both discovered it. And then that's that whole thing of where they're like, yeah, I could see that where like she would be like, my dad's disappeared too.
Yeah, like maybe it was just a coincidence, but that's the point when we start to think like maybe there's similarities between these.
I like that.
Cool. I like that too.
So
And
let me
yes,
ask you this.
that ties back into the like search for the bigger things in life. I think he's trying to figure out his view on like death, the afterlife, meaning of things like that.
So your anchor is your mom, Samantha. Yet your mom maybe has not told you the truth about what went on with your dad.
Yeah, and I think we've like moved since then. Maybe we like I like the idea that maybe we like upgraded our housing. Like we had been in a sort of like rundown townhome sort of complex, and just a couple months ago, like she bought a house. We moved into a neighborhood sort of thing.
So kind of in one of these newer subdivision kind of things. What does your mom do?
I think she had been. I think she had just been like a part-time accountant, sort of paperwork at a business sort of thing. I think she's gotten a new full-time job at the Loop facility.
What kind of bookworm are you?
Lot of science fiction, a lot of like mid-century 50s, 60s writers. I think it was.
Do you scoff at fantasy lit, or is that still in your wheelhouse?
Well, I mean, if it's like classic time-tested fantasy that's by authors who aren't just like locked into their particular little like elves and fairies box, then yeah. But like all this new stuff that's coming out and all these like epic fantasies, it's just writers who don't know how to edit themselves.
Fair enough. Now, do you have glasses so you can push it up when you say those things?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
all right. I just want to make sure. And tell me about your NPC relationship.
So let's see. My NPC relationship that I chose is interesting given Holly here. But Jeffrey, the school janitor, was my friend until he until he disappeared. I'm sure the school librarian Mary knows more than she's saying. And so I was sort of curious for Sarah whether you think the janitor that you're friends with is the person who replaced Jeffrey, or whether like he and Jeffrey worked alongside, and so there might be some relationship there.
Or it's Jeffrey.
Oh, and your anchor's missing?
I didn't necessarily want to do that because that would have mechanical implications if your anchor isn't there.
But we can work with that too.
Okay.
I think that'd be interesting.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, that's something that's certainly on the table right now. Then for you, Holly, is the fact that the person that you would normally talk to, confide in, is missing.
Cool. Then I think it's probably a pretty recent thing.
What's the deal with your Arcanic item? What kind of magnifying glass? Is this a classic Holmesian one? Is it one from an Oxford Encyclopedia compact one where you have to pull the drawer out and get the little reading one?
Oh, I like that. The little like rectangular, and it's got the little bar at the bottom, sort of. Yeah. I think the like army jacket that he wears. I think the like classic sci-fi that he reads. They're all like pieces and parts of his dad. They're things that he pulled out of like attic boxes and storage when they were moving into the new house and just sort of claimed as his own.
And you think you're the smartest kid in school.
Oh, I know I'm the smartest kid in school. That's why we have the Quiz Bowl competition each year. That's why I was the resounding like county-wide winner last year. I'm not just the smartest kid in school.
It's a team event. It's a team event. That is not a single person. It's an entire team, and you're only captain
for trophy purposes. But for scoring purposes, they do track the individual scores of each player.
Like to see the spreadsheet of who answered what?
Look, I don't know what you're doing with your means or standard deviations or whatever, but it's grading on a curve, and I don't approve of that sort of nonsense.
And so your favorite song is U2's Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For. Are you a big U2 fan?
Oh, yeah. I mean, first of all, they're very, like, wordy and intellectual. They're foreign, they're European, so obviously they're like a step above any sort of thing that would be here. Plus, like, the Joshua Tree album is just an existential freefall in musical form, and I think that's very much where he is right now.
Probably saw Rattle and Hum, the U2 movie in the theater a couple of times.
Yeah.
Not the remix tape. Not drawing on that from real life. So we'll go on there. All right. That's awesome. I think that gives me good stuff to work with. And I'm going to come back around to you on those relationship questions, which brings us to Darren.
Yes. Hi.
Darren, tell us about your character.
Okay. So Ronald, who hates his name and much prefers Buzz. And I think because he has often terrible haircuts that are buzzed, it's nice, it's endearing. Ronald lives.
Pause there for a second. Do you get your haircut done at a barber shop, or
No.
or is your mom or your dad do it, or your sister?
Absolutely, my mom. Oh, maybe a sister. That's interesting. Yep, mom dog. I'll stick with mom.
Yeah, because I'm hearing on the other people so far. I'm hearing only child on them, so it's interesting you actually have a sibling. So that's good.
Yeah. No,
okay.
I have some siblings.
Okay. So your sister cut your hair.
Mm-hmm.
Did she go to the beauty school then?
No. Let's see. She's in high school, obviously, and she wants to go to like probably like Notre Dame or something, right? And just do like an ag program. But even that's like kind of a stretch, right? Because the family like needs her on the farm.
Awesome. I like that.
And it's out of state. I'm like, oh, God.
Out of state, Catholic school. She doesn't realize they don't really have an ag program.
One of them does. Is like Purdue. One of them has a
Purdue. Oh, Purdue definitely does.
Okay, Purdue. Let me retcon to Purdue.
Okay. I only know this because we're in Indiana, and Notre Dame is like, I can point to it from where I'm sitting right now. So tell me about that family. Your mom, dad, your siblings. What does that look like?
Yeah, so I think we live outside of Wayward, and I was looking at the map, and it's maybe just like in between, like outside the loop, in between New Knoxville and Wayward. Looks like there's some waterways, probably lots of farms out there.
Yeah.
So I think we're definitely rural, and I think my family mainly does. I think we have like a cash crop, but then we also do some like livestock things, and I'm very involved in 4-H. The whole family is, of course. But I think it's a lot of like the school year is hard because my parents want my sister and I to get our diplomas, but it's like a big strain on the farm because like I think as it's becoming the 80s, it's kind of like harder and harder to find like temporary workers and things like that. Yeah.
Is it just you and your sister, or are there other siblings?
Well, I was thinking it was a big family, but now I kind of just like that it's me and my sister.
Okay. So you're definitely the youngest child. Sister several years older than you.
For sure. Maybe she's like 15 or something.
What does it mean by your drive?
What's my drive? They need me. Right. I think Ronald, this comes from like the problem too, if I can bring that in.
Okay. Yeah, please.
A lot of the stress with the farm is driven because my dad is sick and he more and more can't do things around the farm because it's too draining, it's too tiring, it's like too dangerous. And of course, naturally, we don't really have the money for all the doctor's visits and medicine and things like that. So I think Ronald, like growing up in this and like finding as he gets older, getting more and more agency and also more and more expectations to like kind of take over on the farm and be like the man of the house. I think it's kind of like been like he's always been able to help out and he's always been able to like do things. So now I think he just expects to be in that role. So like whenever he's with people, there's something he can do. And there's some way that they need him, whether it's like driving the car or whether it's like calming down animals or like getting through or like being able to like hike up the road or like being able to find their way through the woods or something like that.
And what's the name of your German Shepherd?
Oh yeah, I have a dog. I forgot to name it.
There you go. You find all these gaps.
Yeah. My German Shepherd's name.
Mitzi.
Duke. Duke is good.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, I don't know. I want his name to be like Cop. He's a police officer of our livestock, so.
Okay. So you just call him Cop?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see here. What else do I want to know? Tall, short, thin, stout? How are we imagining him?
Stout for short, and I think he's still short, stout and short, but maybe it's because he hasn't hit a growth spurt yet.
And what's your NPC relationship?
Oh yeah. My 4-H supervisor, Camille, seems distracted and worried after his recent camping trip.
Ooh, interesting. What is your specialty in 4-H? Is it raising a particular livestock? Is it growing things? There's lots of stuff in 4-H, gift wrapping, baking, all kinds of stuff.
I think it's got to be the tractor pull.
Okay.
Yeah, because that goes into my what is my thing? I was thinking my drive. Yeah, okay, my anchor or my pride. My pride is I can double clutch better than anyone, so I'm angling for this like mechanic.
Okay,
support.
yeah, you know how to run the machinery. You can operate it, even though you're not supposed to. But oh yeah, you can run that.
All right. My sister does the like prize winning like hog or whatever. Yeah, I think we have a really nice pig in our family.
Is your sister like? If people were to see her in her high school, would they consider her a hick, or does she hang out with a different crew?
Oh yeah, she hangs out with a different crew. Because she wants to go to college, so I think she's hanging out with like the smart kids. I don't think she's in like math bowl or anything, but she definitely like tries to do well in her classes, and she'll like go to like study dates and stuff.
All right, I'm going to ask you the last kryptonite question. What's her name?
Log out, disconnect. Let to go. Oh man, okay, 80s. Her name is her name's Patty.
Patty.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. All right, thank you. I will come back to you on relationships. Rich, we have held off so we could hear your story. Please tell us about Juice Shack and explain that.
Okay. My character is the computer geek. Her name is Nicole. Her last name is Juszczak. She says it like Juzak, like the rest of her family, but it was overheard her first day at school this year, and some bullies said it sounds like Juice Shack, and that became the name she's been labeled with, to her horror. Yeah, so she's Nicole Juice Shack Juzak.
Okay.
Yeah. Her dad works for Tandy Corporation, and he has taught her a great deal about computers. Her older brother is actually in college. He's 23. She's known around the house as their happiest accident because her parents are in their mid-40s. And then she came along. It's pretty obvious that they didn't anticipate having another child. And Nicole has just made her own way, or Nikki. Although, she loves the pseudonym Elosin, which is Nicole backwards. She's inspired by the Wizardry computer game where Trevor and Werdna were the main characters, named after Robert and Andrew, who are the designers of the game. She's a computer geek and gets all kinds of cool tech from her dad. Her iconic item is a Tandy 1100 HD notebook computer, which she has ramped up to a full 8 megahertz, you guys. It is fast. So fast. Her pride is that she's the smartest kid in school, despite what others may think. And while Justin and Nicole do often argue about his delusions, she likes him quite a bit. They're friends. She may think more things about him, but those only for her in her journal. While she is a computer geek, she's also super into the Star Wars role-playing game. And the drop of a hat outside of school will try to start up a game with her friends, which is her drive. Or, it's her drive. She considers them all part of her game group, even though some of them don't know it yet. Her anchor is Joe, the record shop owner. Joe started getting into rap music, which is great because her older brother was also super into rap music. She still has a pair of his parachute pants. They have many, many pockets and zippers. They're extremely useful and pragmatic, and she wishes that was still the style, but what are you going to do?
Can't let anyone know I'm a geek.
Yeah.
You have that as your problem. So how do you present in school?
At school, it is always Lacoste polo shirts. The alligator is her friend. Khaki shorts. Occasionally a sweater if it's warm, but it often ends up tied around her waist. Occasionally she will use a scrunchie, but often she keeps her hair long. But it's really all about trying her very best to fit in, keeping all of her geekery stuff either in her Jansport backpack or her fanny pack, whichever sometimes she wears both, but that's a lot to ask because she's not extremely athletic or anything. She's a 10-speed guy, so she just switches into another gear.
Your older brother away at college, close by or far away at college?
Pretty far away. I miss him a lot.
What's his name?
My older brother's name is Matthew. It's super boring.
Okay. And tell me about your NPC relationship.
Oh, absolutely. So Elizabeth, my friend Elizabeth has built a computer program that cracks codes, and we use it to listen to scrambled radio communications. And I heard some guys who called each other's fish names. They were talking about Elizabeth's mother as one of the targets.
Interesting. Elizabeth, your age, older, younger?
I think older. I think she's like super high school. Like she's
Okay.
so cool, you guys.
Do you let her know that you play RPGs?
Yeah, I think so. I've asked her a bunch of times, like, if she wanted to play a Force Adept, and she's not into it.
And there's probably a game store in town. We'll figure out about that.
A game store? Wait a second. This is the 80s.
Oh yeah,
it's a bookstore.
There are small,
with like
it's a bookstore,
in
game
Ohio.
store.
Yeah, it's a bookstore that has a shelf with some game books on it. Come on, let's be honest.
And
No,
maybe
no,
at
no.
the
Wait.
maybe at the mall, at the Hobbyland, there's maybe a few games there on the shelf.
Okay, if you're gonna bite from your rattle and hum, she got her stuff from Toys R Us.
Okay. Perfect. All right. I think that gives me a good amount of things to work with. What's your house like?
It is nice. Her dad actually works remote, which is crazy, but it's a really nice house with a gigantic garage.
And does your mama also work?
No, she stays home.
Okay.
She is a domestic goddess. That's a phrase she termed, or so she claims.
Excellent. All right. Let's come around to those relationship questions. Sherry.
Yes.
Actually, we're about 20 after. So before we move on, let's take the 5-minute break now, since we're kind of at the midpoint, just so we can refresh coffee, bio break, things like that. Let's take 5, and we'll come back and we'll figure out those relationship considerations. So take 5. I think of these songs, the one that has given me the earworm from reading the title is, of course, yours, Rich. The It Takes Two.
I had that on cassette tape and listened to it, and stopped it, and then wrote down all the lyrics. It took forever. I really wanted to know what the raps were.
I had a friend who loved the song "One Night in Bangkok" from the chess musical, and recorded it as many times as would fit onto a 60-minute cassette on both sides. And when we would drive anywhere in high school, he would put that in with auto reverse just over and over and over again.
In high school, my buddy Daniel was, I can't remember if I told you the story or not, but he had a Volkswagen, and we would go to Johnson City, which was like a 25-minute trip, and he didn't have a radio, so we would rap for 25 minutes. Go to Johnson City, go to the mall, then we'd rap back. So it was good times. This is in East Tennessee. We were like the only people who do rap songs.
Oh my Lord. All right. So Sherry, I'm going to start with you, and again, there's some suggested ones in the book, or in the playbook there. If you have other ones you want to modify or develop or use those, let's walk through it. You are muted. Ooh, take a drink.
Hey, that wasn't fair. I was still trying to get my mouse or pointer thing over to the unmute. Okay, so the cat is in the way of everything, so you're going to have to go to the next person. I'm sorry. I literally can't see my other screen. Okay, so I have X is the one I can talk with about anything. And I kind of think that that's Patrick's character. Of course, I need to see what his name is. I'm remiss as a friend.
How dare you be bad at names? I am always perfect at names, and my name is, Justin.
Justin is the one I can talk about with anything. Something about finding out that his father disappeared too means that we have like the greatest bond.
Okay.
Okay. And I think that a big relationship, like complication and thing, would be my uncles disapprove of. And it would be normal to choose Sarah's character, Holly, I think. But it might not be for what I think it would be. It's just that my impression is that they disapprove of Holly. Does that make any sense? They ask after. And
yeah, what did you say your uncle does?
They are funeral directors.
Okay. All right. So he wouldn't know my father or mother.
Exactly.
Oh, wait. Yeah, we probably came through for my grandma's funeral, but they wouldn't have interacted beyond that. Okay.
But they might know your dad. They might have, if everyone grew up here, they might have that old stuff that nobody talks about from their school days.
Exactly.
Can I ask a tangential question?
Yeah.
Cherry, your uncles?
Yes.
Are they like uncles that live together, or are they like brothers that live in separate houses and have always worked together?
So the funeral home is called Agostino Brothers Funeral Home, but it used to be like the Crowley Brothers funeral home, and they just put Agostino on there. I think that they aren't actually brothers, but I don't think that I have any inkling about what that implies, if that makes any sense.
Literally what my mom used to call bachelor uncles.
So one of them is a blood relative, the other isn't.
Awesome. That's great. So that gives us your relationship to Holly then. Mm-hmm. Let's figure out the other two.
I think that the one that makes sense is that I love going over to someone's house because of the way their family is. Like, it's so different than my sense of what that's like. So it could be anyone.
Does it feel more like Ronald or more like Nicole?
Oh, that's a hard one. I do think that in some ways, Ronald's house seems to be the most like amazingly different, if that makes any sense. They are like always doing things, and I think that's, they aren't artistic. They're completely 100% doing the farming thing all the time.
And you spent most of your time in Chicago, so
In the city. He's got that awesome dog, and there's all the animals, and yeah, I think it's like the best place to go to. That's just, she has no idea what's going on, but it's super exciting for her.
And so, what's your relationship to Nicole then? You think?
Oh, good, we get to have more. I was feeling sad that I only got to choose 3.
Nope, you get to come up with another one.
Okay, I love going to Ronald's house, and I think that for Nicole is, I think Nicole is the person I would like to have as my best friend, but I don't even know how you go about doing that. So how is my potential best friend if I can figure out how you do that?
Does that seem workable for you, Nicole? Rich?
Rich.
Sorry, I was like, there's a Nicole in our game. I'll let that character, like, wow, zoned out. Yes, that's totally cool.
And I think it makes sense that because Nicole does that swap between her modes, between school and out, that's maybe a little bit confusing to you. Excellent. All right, let's move on to Holly. Let's figure out how you relate to the other characters here.
So someone knows what I'm going through. No one jumps out of me. Anyone have any ideas?
Ronald also has a dad that is kind of having problems. There's a connection there. And of course, there's this sort of absent dads of Darlene and Justin.
Oh, and Justin, you also were friends with the janitor.
Yeah. Like maybe no one else believes you there's anything hinky about his disappearance.
You like that?
Yeah, sure. Let's go with that.
Okay.
And someone thinks they're better than us. Not me, us.
Oh, it ought to be me. That's a typo, I think. Who do you think? Who does Holly perceive as being thinking they're better?
Was it Darlene that has a super fancy house?
No, that would be Nicole.
Nicole, okay. Oh, but you're the one I stood up for, too.
That's a nice complicator. You want to work with that?
And you also think you're the smartest one in school.
I know I am.
Okay.
Awesome.
And I'll do anything for someone.
Does that feel more like Ronald or Darlene?
Am I like the young, stupid country bumpkin you need to watch out for?
It feels more like Ronald to me. I guess, like, maybe it's part your age, but you're just pretty different from everyone else, I feel like.
My hick sensibilities keep a freshness in the world. When I come through smelling like cow or cow poop and grass.
And so What is Holly's relationship to Darlene then, you think?
I've run out of pre-made questions.
No. Feel free to zip through the other unused playbooks if you want some inspiration too.
I'm just thinking of tying this in to the death of my grandmother, because we would have met. That's probably where we first met, actually, the funeral home.
Was she comforting at that point, or off-putting, or how do you think that went down?
Darlene?
I think that, like with my uncles and stuff, if there are kids that I'm expected to, how do you say, be there and usher them. But the one thing is that Darlene's trick is that she will like take you to another part of the house, where like she brings cookies and stuff, and like you could just hang out there and talk or not talk or whatever. She's pretty good with that stuff. So she probably is like, she probably met her and she was a good person to have at that moment. And she's like really good with grieving, if that makes sense.
I've got a good way to phrase this too. You know me from before.
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
Awesome. All right. That brings us to Justin.
Okay. So I think for Darlene, Darlene and I are searching for the same thing. I think, it's very literal in the like missing dad thing, but Justin's very obsessed / interested in death and dying and the sort of state of the soul in the afterlife. And Darlene, lives, works in a funeral home. So I think that all sort of melds in together well. Words. I think Nicole and I like tying it into the obsession with the role-playing game. Like, we're gonna get this Star Wars game to the table. It's gonna happen. So I think we're looking for our group together.
Oh, okay.
It's a good multi-level thing. So I have on here, I will make blank love me. And I sort of like that for Holly. I sort of don't love the wording on it, though.
Sure.
It's both awkward and wrong, and I'd rather it just be one.
Notice me, pay attention to me.
It's the make. I will. I think it's more like something like I will win Holly's affections. It's still this misconception that there is like something I can do that will make it happen, but it's less like I will enforce my will on her, if that makes sense.
Okay. Holly, does that work for you?
Cool.
And then there's Ronald.
There's Ronald.
Buzz.
Buzz. No, I think it's definitely Buzz. He respects that choice. It's a good spaceman name, so Oh, sorry. I think it's the Buzz and I are siblings and friends. Like, I very much just accept him how he is. I see him as like a kid brother, and I think maybe if there's ever like that dynamic of the group is going to do something, but people are trying to exclude you for being too young, like Justin will always just let you come along with him no matter what.
And Beth doesn't talk any shit about how smart you think you are. I just let you live that.
I mean, I imagine there's some expressive eye rollings, but I respect your restraint. Cool.
Excellent.
I love it.
I think that brings us to Buzz then, right?
Yes. So my pre-mates are, I think, man, I think Nicole wouldn't survive a day in the woods.
Nope.
So with that one.
Awesome.
And then I think, Darlene, if you're into it, I just don't know. How can I show Darlene what I feel?
That sounds great.
Some more, you're like other side of the county. How do I impress the girl who works at a funeral home? And then we set it up. So I think I think Justin has to be my reliable friend. So we set that up with the other one. I believe in that friendship.
And so what's your relationship to Holly then?
Yeah, I think I like that Holly will do anything for me, and the kind of the way we talked about. But I think that I'm like intimidated by Holly. I think I'm kind of scared of Holly. Like if Holly comes through and it's like, I'm gonna fix this for you, I'm like, okay. Thank you. You're older, you're way cooler, you're like, I'm just
I
scared.
imagine, since I hang out with the smokers in front of the school, I imagine I like wave to you and you're just like,
Yeah. Walking faster.
Excellent. Which brings us to Nicole.
Hey, okay, Nicole. Yeah, I'm just going to close the loop here. Darlene and I are definitely best friends. Definitely. Because she's just on the...
But Darlene doesn't quite get it that you're
Darlene's
best
not
friend?
sure. Darlene's not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure why she's not sure. We'll figure that out and play.
I think she doesn't get when you do the code switch at school. You know?
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
This doesn't make any sense.
No, it totally makes a lot of sense. And I think it's a thing of like, we're best friends, but Nicole probably doesn't.
I'm a weirdo.
Away at school. Yeah, you're the weirdo. So at school, she mostly, yeah.
Ignore her at school in front of your other friends.
Yeah, I think so.
And then?
Yeah, I really want to talk about that during game. I don't want to talk about her reasoning here. I think that Holly and I are different, but still friends. So I don't realize that Holly thinks I think I'm better than her. I think that Holly is so cool because she smokes and it's just trouble. Like, I mean, she's like a full-on Rebel Alliance pilot kind of girl, and it's just awesome.
and I stood up for you that one time.
You stood up for me that one time. I mean, not that I say that out loud because that meant I need to be stood up for, but still awesome. And I think that Justin treats me badly, but I won't sink to the same level, even though I constantly do, by reminding him how much smarter I am than he is. I do think that, like, he treats me badly in the, you know, he has to do the whole thing of like, I'm a boy and I'm smarter than you. Only one of which is true. But I do think there is actually like a friendship in that we have a drive to learn things and he pushes me to excel. And that's kind of great.
Yeah, I was definitely on the edge of choosing something sort of competitor frenemy with you, so I like that undertone being there.
Yeah, good. So I want to run this by you, Darren, see what you thought, because I was trying to think, like, you're 10, so you kind of don't exist for most 12-year-olds. But what if Matthew, who's now in college, like, was interested in Patty for a while, and so I ended up like coming with him because he would tell mom and dad, like, I'm going to go out for a drive. I'm going to take
your little brother with you. Take your little sister with you.
Take Nikki out with you, and then I would end up stuck at the farm. And
yeah, no,
that's how. Yeah,
been there, done that.
Yep. I figured that one might have a little bit
sister
of
5 years older than me, so
true life there. That's all right, nice. Cool. So Darlene Hart, and I'll stick in a thing of and I think that I get that you've got a good heart, and your life mostly sucks. So there's this gotta take care of Buzz thing and ignore the dumb things that he says, because at the end of the day, his heart's in the right place, kind of thing. Plus, there are lots of archetypes for like sidekicks and shit. So,
am I your R2D2?
I think.
Well, yeah.
More the young kid, I imagine, archetype, because there is a Star Wars playbook for the kid.
Oh, yeah. I've loaned you my VHS, but you're never touching my laser discs.
I don't know how those work anyway.
They're like records, but way, way different.
So I have a couple of questions about the group, and the first couple I want to actually do riskily, open table. Like, I'm going to throw this to the table to answer here. Do you think that your group just kind of, by virtue of time, kind of consolidate together into this kind of weird friendship, or was there an inciting incident for that? Any thoughts on how you feel that would go?
Well, I mean, just talking from the relationship picked up with the whole thing with Elizabeth and the code cracking, that's going to be something that Nicole wants to deal with immediately, and would definitely bring in other people, but I don't want to commandeer the story. I'm just saying that's a thing she's going to be driven to try to figure out.
Well, let's assume though that you have been friends for a bit, like the group has coalesced before this, and so but that's my question: is how did this weird gaggle of five come to be considered a group?
A lot of us do have people that are missing. I mean, I have the janitor, but then also kind of my mom, and maybe I say she was missing, but she actually just left.
Yeah.
I have an idea. What if, and I like that theme of missing, what if there was like some kid who went missing, and like the whole community did one of those big searches in the area, and we ended up like sweeping one of the areas together looking for the kid?
Yes, I like that, and because you have those cross things, that's how you bound together is with this idea of the missing people, and then the other relationships pulling you in. Let's take that. Let's take that. Now, here is the bigger question. You have a hideout. You have a place that you go that is your own, that the group can get to, that you have control over, that you can make your own place. Is that, where is that? Is it at somebody's house? Is it something secret elsewhere? What do you imagine? Any ideas on that?
I've got that weird thing that I'm out there at an old farmhouse where I've met someone named Miss Stacy, which suggests that at least Darlene is sort of traveling around through that farm area. What if when we did the sweep, we found some place and we kind of go back there?
Like a cabin sort of thing, or more like a...
Like a hunting cabin or something.
What if it's like a old abandoned barn, and like maybe if it's out in the farmland, I might even know my family knows that like nobody uses it, or like that farmland is like weirdly unused.
It's closer to the city, so kids everybody can bike to it if they need to. But you know that the land is unoccupied, and there's a decent barn there. Does that work for people?
Is there an outlet?
Yeah.
Okay.
So with that in mind, then, since you said that, Rich, what is either a general feature of this hideout or something that you, Nicole, have brought to personalize the hideout?
Oh, this is a terrible idea. There's a ham radio there that my dad doesn't know I took. It's not the only one, guys.
Does your dad collect that kind of thing and doesn't miss that?
The garage is a museum of like Apple IIe, Macintosh, ham radios, a bunch of the Tandy lines, TRS-80s, like the whole thing.
Okay. So you've got this ham radio set up there. Then, Darlene, what's another feature of the barn or something that you brought to personalize it?
I think that when they refurbished one of the parlors, I was able to make off with a bunch of folding chairs and side tables and things. Like, I was like, can I take this furniture? And I was able to slowly lug it over there bit by bit. So we have some strange plush furniture in the middle of this barn. How's that?
Yeah, and some nice folding chairs, the little card tables off to the side, so you can set that up. I like that. Holly, what's another feature or something that you brought to personalize it?
I think in all the windows, I've put these different colored bottles, like green and yellow and blue. So you get this like weird kind of stained glass effect when it's sunny out.
Nice. Yeah, you get to soak the bottles to get the labels off, put those all up in there.
Oh, that's art? I thought those were weapons.
Both.
Sweet.
Probably got some extras of those that have candles in off to the side. That classic kid candlestick thing with all the wax running down. All right. Justin, what's another feature of it or something that you brought?
So I think there's like a corner of the barn up over one of the like hay lofts where there's let's call it a sunroof. It's a bit of a busted hole in the roof sort of thing. But I think in the move, Justin like managed to sneak away his dad's old telescope. So we have like an astronomy station, a telescope set up there sort of thing.
Nice. Probably do have to go back to the back part of the barn that has the old hay bales and things like that. And you're always a little nervous because that's the kind of thing that mice and stuff live in. You have to watch out for wasp nests, but you get that nice spot to look out.
Nice.
And then Buzz, let me use your correct name, Buzz.
Thank you.
What is it? What is the feature you want to add?
I built a doghouse for Cop.
how big? Like are we talking like a fancy doghouse, or are we talking like a, here I found some slats of wood and some nails?
Yeah, I think we said I'm forgetting this. We just talked about it. There's a hole in the roof, right, for the telescope? Okay, yeah. I think I used a lot of those boards and pieces, and then I maybe stole some nails out of my dad's toolbox, and slapped it together.
I imagine that cop probably about half the time sleeps outside of it, but got an old blanket in there, that kind of thing. All right. So what I want to do is I want to go around and do a home life scene. This is a way, the structure that Tales from the Loop works is we do those home life things, kind of check in with people, and then I'll put an inciting incident or two on the table here after that. So when the show starts, when the camera comes in, Darlene, what is a snippet of home life? Do we see you getting ready to go to school? Do we see you coming home from school? What do you imagine that is?
I think probably it's getting ready for school, and she's probably over at the other house, and they're making breakfast, and she's sort of like taking the plates out to the table, and it's her uncles are there, of course, but her mom hasn't joined them yet. So,
but what do your uncles look like?
They are. Let's see here. So my mom would be about almost 30, and they are sort of a half generation older than her. So maybe 45 or so, between 45 and 50.
Okay.
So they're a little bit older. Typically what it is one of them will always be, so today it's Uncle John is dressed in the suit. Then in case someone stops by or takes things, essentially he's the face for the house. And then Uncle Albie is dressed in the work clothes. And he would be taking care of any of the, they term back office procedures for taking care of someone. And I assume that there is a body that has to be prepped for the day. And there is a crematory on the premises too.
Probably out back. Yeah, absolutely. Eggs, bacon, or is it a more basic breakfast?
No, they like to do kind of a full breakfast. So that is one of their things. So yeah, it is eggs and bacon and toast and jams and all of those things.
So you'll eat, get ready. Your mom doesn't come, but it's time to go to school. Do you walk?
Well, she walks to the bus stop, which is a bit of a way.
Okay.
But, like it's like maybe a quarter mile.
Okay.
But it's not. Yeah. So she walks to a bus stop. I'm thinking.
As you're going by, you'll see on the other house, you'll see there's sort of a more closed-in back porch on that for people to go out and smoke during things and stuff. And you'll see your mom has dragged the rotary phone out there, that long cord, and you can see that she is on the phone to someone, and she looks upset, like not exactly yelling, but clearly like agitated on the phone.
Okay, so I think that's the thing is she's walking down the driveway towards the road when she sees that. I think she's going to stop and watch her mom and kind of wait to see if she can catch her eye, and then like do a wave. Like she doesn't want to come too close.
And she sees you, and you see her kind of stop and freeze. And rather than waving back, she actually kind of looks, and then she walks into the house with the phone.
Okay.
Let me cut away from you then. Holly, give us a scene there. What do we see?
Holly rolls out of bed in the same shirt she wore yesterday and just kind of goes downstairs like her dad's not around. She doesn't see him. So finding my own breakfast this morning.
What kind of shirt? Is it a print? Is it,
some band t-shirts, probably Duran Duran.
Okay. Seven and the Ragged Tiger tour, that kind of thing. All right.
Sure. It's probably one that Mikey gave me. Breakfast is like 4 slices of white bread, and then I'm probably catching the bus.
Okay.
Yeah.
You'll walk out. What kind of car does your dad drive? Is it a truck?
I think a red Ford.
You'll come out of the house and you're getting ready to head to the bus stop, and you will see that the truck is parked slightly askew and your dad is asleep behind the wheel.
I go and just rap on the window a few times.
And he rolls down the window. And of course, rolling it down, this truck is not in great shape. So there's that bit where it kind of hangs for a second before it kind of pops and goes down. He's like, what time is it?
What time is it? Like 7?
Yeah, that seems right. I just got really tired when I got home. Just thought I'd take a nap. And you can smell a little bit of the stale beer in the cab here. And so I better go get showered for work and kind of.
Sure, Dad. Right.
Pops the thing and steps out a little unsteadily. You hear the clank as a can drops and kind of rolls under the truck. Okay, you have a good day at school.
We're out of bread.
Bread. Bread. Okay, I'll write that down.
As I'm leaving.
Okay. And then let's come to Justin as a contrast to that.
So is this like school day or weekend or what do we?
Let's say school day.
So yeah, I think it's very much like a process for his mom to get Justin out of bed in the morning. His hair is like permanently messed up and sticking in weird directions, and he always has like the dark circles under his eyes because he does not go to sleep. Like
does
no matter.
Does he have long hair, short hair?
It's sort of short, like maybe 2 or 3 inches long, but it does not lay down in any sort of uniform direction.
Okay.
And he and his mom have like long since gotten over the battles of her trying to make him go to bed and him like finding new ways to stay up and just finish that one chapter sort of thing.
What does your room look like?
I think my room. So the house in general is still very like clean, perfect new car smell sort of feel to it. There are rooms that haven't even really been completely unpacked. But Justin's room is just like making up for all of that times 10. There's just so much stuff that he's claimed as his, and books everywhere, just like piles of things all over the place.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think his mom she's very much in that like business suit skirt sort of 3-piece look, and he's just very much not used to seeing her in that still.
And you'll come downstairs and you'll see that there are a couple of large boxes that have clearly been delivered that she's moved into the living room / TV room.
Hey, Mom, what's it? Did we get a shipment?
Yeah, those were delivered this morning. I'm sorry, I should have moved those a little further, but they're heavy. We'll get them unpacked tonight. And you can see it's a new 27-inch TV and a new VCR.
Whoa. Whoa. With like the auto rewind thing?
Yes. Yes, I think so. I think. And she looks at the box and she points at, yeah, auto rewind.
Oh, this is so cool. And he's like down and he's looking over the like specs and information on the outside of the box and like talking about the special way the cathode rays. Oh, look at the antennas on this one and that sort of stuff.
She goes, well, we'll probably have to have you hook it up, but we'll get that worked out.
Oh, yeah, I can hook it up. Does any of it need to be put together? You know, I could do that.
I don't know. I suppose she says, like, clearly she has no clue.
What's the occasion?
Well, we needed another TV. And she kind of walks away into the kitchen to get herself ready for breakfast.
I'm sort of like torn between wanting to like open them up and look at them right now, but I think I follow her in there and like I keep pestering her with questions like, where did you find them? And like, what was the department? Was there sale on them? Why'd you choose this brand?
And she deflects masterfully, service merchandise, had them, blah, 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 that blah, blah, it's just their TVs. I suppose they're good kind of thing. And eventually she goes, listen, I've got to go to work. Make sure you get to school, and kind of cuts out early.
Wow. I think he's sort of there in the middle of his cereal bowl and just now the house is suddenly quiet. You can hear like the ticking of the clock over in the corner and you just sort of tink and slurp.
All right. I'm going to cut from you over to Buzz.
Buzz's scene is certainly after school because Buzz lives at the edge of the school district, which means he's the last kid dropped off from the school bus. So it's like an hour ride or something on the bus.
Literally, there is the 15 minutes of being on the bus with just you and the driver.
Yeah. Yep. And then I imagine he gets dropped off probably like at the edge of his property even. He's got to walk through this long driveway through these cornfields or whatever. And then, probably sees his mom waiting for him so she can like delegate tasks because he's got to start working probably.
And you usually expect to see her there, but you see that she's not there. Like she should be there, and it feels odd. And a cop, of course, comes running up to where you're at.
Yeah, I'm like petting him. Like, cop, where's mom at? How's dad been doing?
And he looks a little anxious. Like, you can tell something's upset him.
What's wrong, buddy? I mean, I'll start like walking towards the house.
Yeah, you'll walk in, pull open the screen door into the house, and you will see that your sister is there, and she is kind of got water boiling, and she's got a couple of boxes of Kraft mac and cheese that she's pulled out, and she's like, hey, I need you to go out and round the chickens up and get them back in the coop.
Where's mom at?
Dad fell down, and she took him in to the clinic.
Again, is he okay?
I don't know. It was just a note, so I don't know how he is. That was the way when I got home. Your sister probably has a car, like a little crappy a Golf Rabbit, or sorry, a VW Rabbit. You know, all rusted out. She said, I got home and I saw the note, and Mom said to fix dinner, and so mac and cheese is what we're having.
They haven't gone a long time. Did you get anything done outside?
I slopped the pigs, and there's a bunch of other things that need to be done. She's clearly a little distracted.
Okay. I'll like go to take care of the chickens.
What is the like thing you see the sign out here of your dad's like fall or accident?
Yeah. So I think it's maybe like the chickens. The coop is probably enclosed in like some little chicken wire thing, right? To like keep them from wandering too far, right? Because the property is pretty big. And then like with the other animals and with dogs and like coyotes and things like that, just to help keep them contained and like in one spot. I think that the chicken wire has been like broken down.
Yeah. Like the kind of the stakes that were holding it up have been broken, like something fell on top of it.
Yeah.
You probably see a little patch of torn cloth there too, from your dad's shirt.
And chickens are outside. I do really have to round them up.
Yeah. You thought it was just going to be a simple job of moving them from one area to the other, but you have to chase down the chickens. Cop helps, and your mom and dad don't get back till like 11:30 midnight that night.
Is Patty good at making mac and cheese?
It is mac and cheese. It is severely al dente. And she fixes it up there. She does the thing that you hate, that she puts the milk and the butter in, and then the macaroni on top of that, and then she throws the packet on so it gets like it doesn't break up at all. So you've got those little clumps of the orange powder there.
Thanks for dinner, Patty.
You're welcome. And she goes to her room.
I think before she runs off, though, because I probably don't see her much, she's like always studying and like trying to go to college. Can I have a scene with Patty?
Yeah, sure.
Patty, are you really going to go all the way to Indiana after you graduate?
Yeah, I'm going to try. Purdue's like that's the mecca for what I want to do.
But what about the farm? If it's just Mom and me. Can you stay, please?
Oh. And she says, I don't want to talk about this right now. This is not the time to talk about it.
Well, Patty, what? Then you're just going to leave and we're never going to talk about it? Never going to talk about anything? I don't get to see you anymore.
She goes, you're a kid, you don't understand. And she storms off.
I'm 10 years old, Patty.
You're a teenager, technically, I think, right?
Almost.
Nicole, let's get your family scene.
Sounds great. Yeah, so after school, I think, is where this would happen. Nicole rides the bus home. And when she comes in, it's a newer construction. Like, this is a newer suburban house. So it's like wall-to-wall carpet in all places. And every place you could put carpet on the floor, there's carpet. There's carpet in the dining room. There's carpet in the water closet on the first floor. All the carpet. Mostly like tans and beiges and the like. Her mom hears the door open up. She comes through the front door. She's on the telephone with a super long cord. You could smell that she's cooking some kind of lasagna. It probably won't be al dente. And mom wears poodle skirts. Like that's just a thing that is her signature item. The point where it's hard to buy poodle skirts, so she actually goes and buys patterns and puts them together. Puts interesting little designs on the poodle skirt because it's called a poodle skirt because originally it had a poodle on the design. It was created by Charlotte for a Christmas party, but now all kinds of interesting designs. And look at this one. This is a Christmas tree because it was made originally for a Christmas party. That's the kind of things that
got a filing cabinet with simplicity patterns in it.
Yes, absolutely.
A couple of different sewing machines. Okay.
Yeah, it's a filing cabinet she kind of took from Dad, so it's like a metal, weighs about 120 pounds filing cabinet that you only use the dolly.
Sharp edges.
Oh yeah, you could lose an eye on that filing cabinet. And she comes in. Hey mom, I'm gonna head upstairs. Okay, I've got lots of homework, which is what she says every day.
And she says, your one of your teachers called.
What about?
She said you didn't want to put your project in the big science fair for everyone to see.
Well, I mean, not really. No.
But you worked so hard on it. She comes in. She said, "What's going on?"
Oh, it's just not. It's not good enough. I saw some of the other entrants. I mean, why bother? But I
mean, your dad was really proud of the work that you did.
I'm proud of the work we did together. He kind of mostly did it. I couldn't really win because technically he broke all the rules by working on the lattice framework, which it's supposed to be my job, but he was like, no, I have wider hands. But, and it's supposed to be my project and it wasn't really. And what if they investigate that? Then I get in trouble. Then Dad gets in trouble. We can't have that. So that's fine. I'm not in the contest. Just in a win.
Are you sure about that? And you see she's hesitating, like clearly she's done something.
What have you done, Mom?
I told your teacher that it would be all right if your project went in for the competition.
Ah! Gag me with a spoon, Mom.
She goes, don't use that language in this house.
As if. Listen, I'm going upstairs to my room.
And what does your room look like?
Oh, it's her room looks from the first blush, like you come in, you've got the 4-poster bed, like the princess bed, and there's little vanity, and it's all just perfect and picture perfect. And then she's got this walk-in closet where it's just wall to wall Star Wars, Dungeons and Dragons posters, books, and it's all hidden behind there. And like the door is always just slightly askew, as if that could leak out and make the rest of it okay.
Yeah, like and you do that, if you ever have friends over, you've got the whole routine of how you conceal everything, right?
Yes. It's like a Transformers room. It's like if she wishes that she had the thing and then all the consoles would come out, like in Spider and Friends, but no, instead it's just everything's in the closet.
Do you have Star Wars toys too?
Do I have Star Wars toys?
Okay, just checking.
I mean, I have Dengar, which you have to send us 6 UPC codes in the mail and wait like 6 to 8 weeks, but he's perfect. He's still in box mint.
All right. Well, that gives me a good sense of that. Your mom will knock and say, dinner is ready.
I'm not hungry. She's like sitting with the closet door open. And she's sitting against the door jamb, reading her Star Wars book, which is like she's got little tabs, you know, in all the important parts, and she's highlighted the crap out of it. 3 different highlighter pins.
Okay. Well, I'll leave a piece of the lasagna in the microwave if you get hungry. All right.
I really just want like an English muffin pizza or something.
We've got pizza rolls.
Oh God, it's like all salt. She writes down some notes on her little, you know, spiral bound notebook.
And your mom leaves you alone.
Yes, I win.
You win. So I'm going to cut to the Friday. That was a Thursday. I'm going to cut to the Friday, school day. We're in this time of the year, so we're in early April. It's that point at which you can see in the distance summer vacation, but it's still far enough away that you groan when you think about the number of weeks that you have left to go. So I want to actually start with Holly, and I want to set something up here. Holly, you used to meet up with Jeffrey. You used to hang out with him. Where was that? In the school? Was it outside? Did he have a janitor's office? What do you think?
If he's got an office, probably I'd swing by after school.
Okay.
Because like there's no reason for me to really go home immediately, so I'd hang out there and like do my homework or not do my homework.
Yeah. So school bell rings. You head down there. Just kind of maybe a little bit of nostalgia. You go into the office. Things are kind of a little bit of a mess because they've had a substitute janitor in and they don't put anything back right. But you will see on Jeffrey's desk, there's like the school notices and things like that. They put the mail there. That there is a package, like a manila envelope package addressed to him there with like a pre-written return thing kind of taped on the front that looks like his handwriting for the address.
Okay. Well, obviously I can't trust the school with this because they're not even really looking for him. They probably just said I don't think they're worried.
Do you steal it?
I definitely take it.
Okay.
And like put like a few of the other things like as I remember them being, like the paperweights or whatever. All his pens are probably out, so it's like kind of tidy it up a little bit. Because if he comes back, when he comes back, I want it to look as much like it did when he left as possible.
Do you open it here, or are you getting out of the school before you go to open it?
Wait until I'm not home, but on the bus.
Okay. Who do you run into of the gang with this kind of tucked away?
Definitely Justin, I think.
Justin, why are you hanging around school a little bit later?
I think I've been like staying late each day this week trying to catch the librarian Mary like on her way out because she's I think the first time I mentioned like Jeffrey's disappearance around her, she like knocked over an entire cart of books in her sort of like panic reaction. But she's refused to talk about anything that's not related to like school library business on school hours recently. So I think running into Holly is like a literal thing.
Okay.
I think he's sort of pacing the hallways, reading a book, and it's just like head down in the pages.
Yeah, and I'm like looking at the package that I've kind of like tucked into my bag. It's like zipper wide open, and just like slam into you.
There's and clatter on the ground and everything. What the?
Justin.
Holly, what? Sorry, I was just waiting. I didn't see. What are you? Is that a box?
Look at this, and I just pull open my backpack so you can see the package at the bottom.
What? So you got a pack? Wait
That's
a
Jeffrey's.
minute. Where did you get that?
This is his office.
I broke into his office.
I didn't break in, really. It was
That's
open.
So cool. So what is it?
I don't know. I haven't opened it yet.
Well, I mean, we've got to open it, right?
Could we go into a classroom so it's not in the hallway? Or
Sure. Probably by the music room.
Oh yeah. No one's using this place.
Oh no, actually, here I'm gonna bring. Actually, I think Nicole in on this. You step into the room where they've got all of the science fair exhibits set up to go to the competition this weekend. Nicole, are you dismantling your exhibit?
Yes, I've got a. I mean, I just kind of whipped it together like a little volcano thing that I'm going to swap it out with. What? Oh God!
what are you doing here?
We weren't doing anything here.
Okay, well, don't have a cow.
Stop.
I'm just trying. It's like I'm just putting my stupid experiment, and I've got to take this stupid erector set thing that my dad turned in that I didn't do.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That makes sense. This was the wrong door. We weren't stealing anything.
I'm giving you the science fair. You might as well thank me.
What?
You're welcome.
What are you talking about?
Wait a minute. Giving me the science fair?
Ugh,
No,
right?
Oh my gosh, you
experiment
guys.
could run laps around your experiment.
Your experiment crawls and mine races.
Do you even know what a trifold board is for?
There'll be that tear as you tear this open, Holly, and that sound is fairly loud in here. And you will look, and inside is the familiar sort of orange-yellow packet of someone having gotten their photos back from the lab, like it's a Kodak thing in here.
And probably as you guys are still kind of yelling, I'm just laying them out onto the desk.
There is no way that your project could. That your project. Wait, where did those? What is that? A tree? Where is that?
And you will lay these photos out, and you will see clearly some nature photos, like out in the woods or things like that. There may be a couple of shots of at school, that kind of thing, and kind of lay those out. And they're pretty good, pretty solid, until you get to about the last 8. And then they get very shaky. And you can see the landscape in the distance, the trees and things like that. And because they're shaky, it's hard to make out, but there is something weird in the picture. Like maybe it's an animal, but it's pretty big for an animal. And it's very shaky. And it has the look of a camera person who's panicked.
Oh yeah, the argument is slowly dying off, and the magnifying glass is coming out to be like, what is that?
Wait, did Darlene take these? Because this is not her best work.
We should show her. Maybe she can, I don't know, make them better.
Yeah, magnify or enhance them.
This is not Airwolf, dummy.
Airwolf.
Something has to be Airwolf eventually.
So you three want to try and track down Darlene?
Yeah.
She knows about photos and stuff.
Darlene and Buzz, what has happened that the two of you are hanging out together at this moment after school?
I think that our bus hasn't come.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Like usually Tyrion, I'm like the first stop on the bus, whereas he's the last stop, you know? And so I think we're sitting out there and like with that line of kids, but the two of us are like both sitting on the curb together.
Yeah, you three come out and you will see Darlene and Buzz sitting there. Some of the other kids, it's late enough that like they've called their parents and their parents have come to start picking them up.
And I think I'm probably going, don't worry, Buzz. I'm sure one of my uncles can drive you home.
It's getting so late already. I need to get home, Darlene. There's probably like the chickens need to get put back together. I gotta work on the fence again.
Okay. Well, I think, and she'll go. Someone's, mom or dad are going to come, and we'll just ask them if they can drop us off at my house. Okay?
Ugh, isn't that weird? Who's gonna want to take me somewhere?
It's okay. You just ask.
I
don't know. People here in the city are so.
and you can looking around for things, and you'll see with some purpose, Holly approaching, probably with Nicole and Justin, I assume, in her wake.
Oh yeah. No. That's not a coat. Look at that. That's definitely fur right there.
It's probably
hey y'all.
Hey.
I definitely ruffle Buzz's hair, such as it is.
Oh, I just washed my hair this morning. You're gonna mess up my mullet.
And I'm like, our bus didn't come. We got to get a ride.
Wait, like the whole bus
First,
didn't come?
look at these.
Yeah, and should be Mrs. Milliken didn't come to pick us up.
Oh, well, like I skipped my bus.
Oh, okay. And she's kind of like looking back and forth at the three of you for like why you're standing there.
But yeah, look, Holly made a crack in the case.
Holly has a handful of something.
Wait,
I think I've stuffed them back into the envelope.
Oh.
Holly stole some photos. It's totally dope.
I didn't steal. They're Jeffrey's, okay?
Evidence. You can't steal evidence.
What?
Come on.
Okay, so you guys can get us a ride back?
I'll call my mom. Can we do this?
That would be great. Yes. And then she'll kind of look back and go, his mom will drop us off. It'll be okay. And yeah, she'll go follow you. Once you said that, she has 100% faith in you to do this thing.
So Holly, where do you take them to show them the evidence?
I think just well away from all the other students, like still outside, probably on the grass.
Okay.
Just
like a picnic table
or something, yeah, and just like dump them all out.
Oh.
Look, and I'll pick out one of the ones with the thing in it. Can you make this better? Like look not blurry or whatever?
And she kind of looks at it and goes, well, no, it was blurry to start. If I had a few of them, maybe I could put them together and kind of get like what was in common in all of them.
Yeah. Like taking the others.
Yeah. They're negative, of course. The negative strips are in there as well.
Ooh. And she goes, okay. And she sort of stops and goes, I just need one more thing. And she goes, okay, Nicole, can your mom drop us? I mean, can she take us to, it's like a hobby store. She goes, I just need to pick up one last chemical and I can do my own dark room.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow, so
I've been saving up and I've got the money, but anyway, can we do that?
Sure. Let's do that.
All right, Buzz, is that okay?
I really gotta get back. I don't know if Cop's been fed yet. My sister's studying tonight, so I I don't know.
And she sort of stops and goes, okay, Buzz has to get home. But if we can get him home and then I can get my stuff, I can work on it tonight. And we'll meet in the morning. Or wait, it's Friday. She sort of stops and goes, we can meet at the barn.
What is all this stuff? Just and like picking up photos. Like y'all stole some photos, and now you want
Wait,
new
Don't steal them. They're Jeffrey's, okay? He went missing a while back, remember?
Yeah, and don't get him out of order. This is all evidence.
evidence of what?
Where was this?
Maybe this is why he's missing. Maybe
Yeah,
got,
maybe there's some sort of crime we can uncover here.
Oh, like this is
Crime.
a secret thing. And she picks up the blur picture again. Yeah, we do need to look into this. She gets super serious.
Well, I don't know about that. Maybe we should just tell the police.
What would the
They don't
police
do
even
anything.
do?
the school barely even cares.
All right. Well, I mean, well, guess we'll get started tomorrow.
But your trust in the authorities is delightfully misguided.
I don't know. They always help out when sometimes there's fires off at another farm, and the fire department comes out. They're always real nice. The police come and like take a statement. I think they're nice people.
Well, I mean, firemen are one thing. They're out there doing a solid job. You can judge their progress and their skill. But police, I mean, they're just like other adults. You can't trust them.
Hey, Nicole. You see
yeah.
your preppy
Nicole.
friends.
Like whips around and says, well, I don't know why your bus is late, you guys. Hey, Steffi. And then she's just going to start walking towards Steffi.
Okay.
Okay.
If I walk at her, then the conversation changes, and I'm not standing with these guys.
I like to think that we all stand to like look, we all turn to look as she walks away.
Bye,
This
Nicole.
is why
See
I
you
think
tomorrow at
you-
the barn.
This is why I think you think you're better off.
Yes.
What? It's not true, but maybe. But no.
And your mom pulls up, Rich.
Oh, shoot.
I think we start running towards the car.
Hey, Miss Juice Sack, can you take me home?
Hey,
Oh.
Steffi. So like gag me with a spoon, right? I have to like do my community service for today and take these weirdos.
Okay.
Oh no.
Rich
Oh, no.
froze.
But with an amazing eye roll going on.
Yeah, that
so.
is real strong.
Strong eye roll. Miss
Power
Jusak, gets out of the car. She's got a poodle skirt on. She's probably met all of you before. And she will say, to you as you come up, she will say, well, hello, Ronald.
Please, Miss Juice Shack, please call me Buzz.
So, yeah, wow. So your bus didn't come?
Guess not. I don't know where it's at. Usually they're here every day.
And she comes around and she's got this poodle skirt on and it's beautiful, homemade. And she's like, well, and she opens up this her bag and she hands out Twinkies to all of you. And she says, even to you, Holly, a little bit older, she says, why don't you all take a Twinkie? Are you back, Rich?
I don't know, am I? Okay,
You
good.
froze for a sec there.
Yeah, I know. And then I ran out to like ask Donovan if he was still like video gaming or not, and he said he's good. So then I ran back.
Yeah, but the image of you was you with your eyes rolled back in, so it was very, very
awesome.
appropriate.
It was her general statement was like, Steph, these weirdos, like the bus blew them off, and I got to do my community service for the day. What can you do?
And your mom hands out Twinkies to your little friends, has them all pile into the car, and if everyone wants a ride home, she will be glad to
You guys
give
didn't
all.
take the red velvet, did you?
I'm sorry, I didn't know you wanted that.
No, it's fine. Whatever.
I think as you climb into the car, I just like kind of kick you a little bit.
Ow. Got a bruise there.
And Darlene will pass you the red velvet that she took.
Well, you're like, you can totally have the red velvet. It's cool.
And you four will be driven home. And I want to do a little teaser sting here, but I think we're going to stop here. And I think that the teaser sting is, what is it that you had to get at the Hobbyland to do this photo thing?
There's a set of chemicals. It was just one of them, the sodium something or other. I don't know. I'm not a photographer person, but I have a theory. I had a friend who did it, so there were three.
I love that we can just see when you pop up. We can just see a little cat's paw sticking up here on your shoulder. By the way,
this whole time.
And I think we see the montage of you putting all of that stuff together and kind of getting that image to slightly resolve there. And you look at it, and you don't think you did it right.
Really? What is it?
Yeah, because who could take a picture of a dinosaur? And that's where we'll stop for today. Let me tell you what the usual. I'm going to give everybody 5 XP because that's how much it costs to raise a skill. But let me tell you what the usual XP questions are so you can have that in mind. Let me go through that very quick here. Experience points, page 88. So usually XP works like this. You get a point for being in the session. You get a point if you've been in trouble because of your problem or your relationships. You get a point if you use or struggle with your pride. You get a point if you put yourself at risk for other kids. And you get a point if you've learned something new. So those are the sort of, you can get 1 to 5 XP at the end of a session. But I'm going to give you 5. Skills, any skill, you can buy a new skill, you can raise a skill up. Max is 5. You can even go over that max of 3 now if you buy that. We're going to stop there. With longer games, usually I try to do the stars and wishes at the end of every other session once we got a chance to play. I'll check in at the start of next session, and if anybody wants to shift their skills around or stats, you'll have the opportunity to do that. We'll go with that. Any questions before I stop? No? Okay, well, I'm going to stop the broadcast.